Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Craig.
Jesus.
That was
All right.
creepy.
Craig is here with us as our guest. Okay.
All hail our robot overlords.
Okay. At least we have some help. We have an intern. He's a app bot, whatever.
It's our WWE writers.
Yeah, can he just fucking look stuff up for us too with a mid episode? Is that a thing?
No.
Thursday. Welcome. Something Hoosier Main dot I don't know. Well, I was gonna say .com, but we don't have a .com.
Yo.
Hey, folks, before I start, don't send anything to the fax machine. It's down. If you could send any information or things through our email or comments, that would be very helpful.
You can email me at hotmail.com.
Wait a minute. We do have an email.
Oh, we do? Oh, yeah, we do. I guess we do. We have a Gmail account, don't we?
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
It's the lore.
It's the lore of the land.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. So it's Hoosier Main. I'm Jared.
Okay. I'm Anthony. This is Jared. Here we go. Okay. We're talking now.
Yeah, we're here. Now listen. We got some final thoughts for Parasite Eve 2. I completed it over the weekend or week. I don't remember what day that was. Last boss. Crazy. I don't know. I was trying to remember if Resident Evil played like this game, and now I can't remember. But the last boss, I basically spam magic on him. I'm so scared. Fireball!
That sounds like Resident Evil to me. Rocket launcher.
Rocket launcher, yeah. I also had a rocket launcher, though. Or well, it was a grenade launcher. It was like the last two guns you could pick from were an M1, I think it was an M1 grenade launcher with like 20 rounds in it. Awesome. Or you could get a 249, which I believe is a big machine gun. But I chose the grenade launcher because it was bigger in my brain. Bigger bullet, make bigger boom.
True. Very true.
So, was it scary? No. Was it fun? Yes. Was it completely different from Parasite Eve 1? Also, yes.
Those two games have been on my, backlog, wish list, whatever you want to call it, for a very long time. I mean, literally since the PlayStation 1 days. And watching you play it just makes me want to play it more. The gameplay looks so like that is PlayStation 1 era gaming. And it's just such a hit of nostalgia. And I get it. If you don't like that type of game or whatever, you're not going to like this because it was some of the stuff. I mean, you were getting frustrated and passing it on to me where it was like, we have to move this door. And it's like, look, there's scratches on the floor. If only we had tools to do it. Well, we got to go ask permission to use these tools. And then you go ask permission. And it's like, yeah, you could use it's like, whatever. Just let me open the door. I like that stuff, as infuriating as it was. I love that. That is my jam. And those games just looked awesome.
Yeah. The other thing, too, I don't know if you saw me doing this, but I was really obsessive about the inventory management and moving the inventory around the map because you don't have like that central box like in Resident Evil. You had all these little boxes and you can move stuff around. Of course, they don't tell you. I'm spoiling this for everybody who wants to play Parasite Eve 2. If you don't need it, but you'll need it at the end of the game, leave it in the back of the fucking regular car because you get access to that later again. And it's just like, stop. I think I spent a good hour and a half toting my like guns to the interior of this shelter. So in case I needed them, ended up not needing any of them, just toting them around for no reason. I'm just like, oh my God. When I got to that fucking last bit, I was like, stop.
Yeah. I think this is just like a product of its time where there wasn't this unified way of playing games. Like right now, if you pick up a controller, every game is going to control the same because we've basically mastered what feels good in a video game. Same thing with inventory management. Like every game has those connected boxes, that connected storage. We just know that that's more fun. It's not fun to, micromanage your inventory and shuffle through your things. And it's like, oh, where did I put that 9mm box of ammo? Oh shoot, it was in the other box, and now I got to run all the way across the map. And then you do it, and then you come back, and it was like, oh, I forgot my stinking 5.56 ammo or whatever. It's like that's not fun. And so games today have fixed that issue. But you're exactly right. Like back then, that was half of the challenge. Was just like toppling your, because by the time you get to the end of the game, your inventory is overflowing with stuff, and it's like, where did I put that? Nah, well, I'll find it later, and then you never find it.
I always end up shooting myself in the foot though, because I kind of obsess over the organization of my inventory in any game like that, and so I tend to add time to any of that, and I'll just be sitting there fiddling and thinking and fiddling and thinking, and then be like, oh, I should play the game now. So it definitely got the better of me a couple of times, but I did like this game. I did like the ending. You had to jump through some hoops. I ended up grabbing a guide near the end, mostly just to speed up the finishing it, because some things were a little convoluted. But I mean, it wasn't as convoluted as say like Silent Hill's ending. I remember getting stuck on that real bad as a little kid, but I haven't revisited that since I was an adult. But those are my final thoughts on Parasite Eve 1 and 2. I would replay them. They were fun. I'll probably replay the first one more than the second one, but I would replay the second one. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Watching you play has made me want to play those games.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, you've had some. You're trying to get through your final bits on Last of Us. I saw you doing some different modes.
Yeah, so I finished Last of Us Part 2, and I think we briefly talked about, just kind of like initial thoughts, feelings after finishing the game. I don't want to get into super heavy stuff because I want to save that for a retro replay. But yeah, so in order to get the platinum, you have to play all of the game modes, and instead of having multiplayer this time around, they added kind of like a roguelite, whatever you call it. I don't know what that game mode is called, but essentially you get to pick a character from the story mode, and each of them have different weapon loadouts or things that they specialize in, and then you pick your path going down different challenges. So it could be like an assault map where you have to kill 3 waves of enemies in as short amount of time using as few resources as possible. Or it could be a hunted match where they know where you are at all times and they're constantly hunting you, and you have to go without being spotted for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Or there's a capture map where there's a locked safe surrounded by enemies, and you have to get to the safe before the timer runs out. Just like these different challenges that are basically just more of the game without there being any story attached to it. And I really liked it. It was fun. I think there is a little bit of repetitiveness there that, I don't see myself playing that for an extended amount of time, but it's a fun little distraction that's worth a couple trophies. So I'm really enjoying that.
I just like watching it. It reminds me of when, like back in Resident Evil 4, you had those like mercenary modes. Well, I was talking to Zero about that when you were doing that, and I was like, "What is that mode called?" And Zero was like, "It's mercenaries." I think it was him, or was it you?
Yeah, mercenary mode. Yeah.
Well, I was just like, "Oh man, I remember playing that mode," but that one seemed, the one that you were doing seemed more involved. There was one where you were Joel and you kept dropping your ammo if you had to
Yeah.
reload. Like what
Yeah.
what was that called? Butterfingers mode? What the hell?
Yeah. So you pick your path. It's got the left and the right path, and you can have things that are called like mods, gambits, and dead drops. And it doesn't matter what those things are, but obviously the harder the challenge, the more rewards you get, and then you can come back to your safe house and you can spend those rewards either upgrading your weapons, buying new weapons, or buying upgrades for your character. And yeah, so I was playing as Joel, and his character trait is he can't dodge. And then I had a mod that every time you reload, instead of it reloading your gun, it empties out all of your bullets and throws them away. And so, you have all of this muscle memory built in from playing a game for 30 hours or whatever it is. And so I start getting rushed by infected. I pull my gun out and shoot, and then I go to reload, and he just dumps his ammo on the ground. And it's like, no, I don't have any bullets. Run, help. And then you can't dodge. So it's like, oh, this is even worse. I'm smashing buttons that aren't doing anything. And it's like, oh my gosh. It was very stressful, very fun. Yeah, and like I said, like you play as characters that you would never get to play as originally in the game, which I thought that was pretty fun too.
I really like the distinction between the characters where they have like, well, you got a shotgun on all of them, but then everybody's shotgun's different and functions a little bit differently. I like that. I thought that was such a nice, like, nuanced touch to the characters. So I was like, oh boy, which one do I like? Which nuance do I like?
Yeah, we're all about that. If we have a cast of characters, we want them to be diverse in their play style. We want them to all feel unique. We want them to all have a purpose for being in the game, and they have that in there. And honestly, this game is an incredible example of however you want to play the game. There's a mode for you. I beat the game, and then when you beat the game, you load up in New Game Plus automatically. And it had a game mode where you could just watch the cinematics from the game if you wanted to play it again. You could just do the combat sections, playing through it again. You could play through it again in chronological order, so without all of the time skipping. When I originally talked about the game, I talked about how every time there's an emotional scene or something happens to characters, the game will rip you out of that moment and do a flashback. And you can essentially skip that and play the entire game in chronological order without the nonlinear storytelling, which I'm absolutely going to play through that game mode for my second time through because I love that idea. And so there's just all these options. And then the option that I'm playing is the no return mode, which is just like combat only. And I'm having a blast, man. It's a ton of fun. The game is very tight controls, and so even when you lose, it doesn't feel frustrating. It's like, oh, okay, I want to get back in, as opposed to like, oh man, are you serious? Like I didn't mean to do that or anything. Everything is 1-to-1, feels really good. There's constantly upgrades. This is not DLC, by the way, which blew my mind. All of this could have been DLC, where it's like, oh yeah, you want to play as Joel? That's a $5 DLC. They didn't do any of that. It's all included in the base game. It's all included as post-game content. And I love that. I think that's a great way to keep player retention after the game is over.
Well, I like to, like we were talking about the nuanced characters. Like, when we were playing games as a kid, well, maybe not so much you because you played Sonic. I'm bringing up Mario and Sonic here. I mean, really, Mario and Luigi played identically. It was just like a reskin, an echo, whatever, and we liked it. Yeah, I want to be the green guy. But as games went on, even with Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, and then eventually more Mario games started doing that, but not as much as the Sonic games did. But yeah, I just like to see that. I like to see that. And plus, calling back to Resident Evil 4 or even Resident Evil 2, being able to play as old Hunk,
Yeah.
That guy was a badass. That kind of reminds me of that, being able to play as all the different characters that aren't even like in the story. Here, you can be Wesker. Okay. Why? Shut up. Just play
Exactly.
him.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I think you and I both gravitate towards different things. You just watching me play, you loved Abby's play style, loved her aesthetic, loved her weapon, that much more militaristic weapon choices. And you and I both joked about it. It's like she has all of these. She has like a flamethrower. She has a shotgun. She has an assault rifle, and then she gets a crossbow. And it's like, oh, okay, that must be for the stealth section. And it's like, yeah, we'll throw that away when we're done with it. And it's like, yeah, that's obviously your style. Loud, big explosions, machine guns, all of that stuff. Very militaristic. And then whereas Ellie, her stuff is much more stealth based. So her stuff is silencers and like homemade weapons and farm, like a bolt action rifle. It feels very much like a backwoods like a mountaineer type loadout. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to sneak through the woods and try to survive. Whereas Abby is sitting there going like, I'm going to cut down every tree with my bullets, and if there's anything left standing afterwards, well, I'll just get in a fist fight with them.
Yeah. Hey, maker.
Yeah.
Half the time, it was like her punch seems like it's stronger than the fucking weapon that you're
Yes.
using to womp them. I'm like, how does that make sense? Force multiplier.
Yeah.
Percentage. I don't know. I saw this thing recently, though. I never really thought about this. To call him back to Hunk. I saw that it was possibly an acronym for Human Unit Never Killed. Did you ever hear that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, that's the stuff that like like old internet forums and stuff like that where you would hear whispers about stuff like that, and then the developers would like obviously that wasn't the developer's intention, but then they would see that in internet forums and then they'd put it in as kind of like a nod to that community, those diehard community people. Yeah, I had definitely heard of that before, and I don't think there's any merit to that, but I think it's hilarious that that became his like designation or whatever.
That also goes along with that victory lap in scary games. Well, yeah, that was the one thing I was going to tell you was in Parasite Eve 2, after you beat the game, you get the fucking Magnum. Like that's just like
Oh
straight.
yeah,
Like, are we? This is Resident Evil now, right? Like, got the fucking Magnum, the best gun. Why was the
absolutely.
Magnum always the best gun? By the way, it's like you get that and you kill
Uh,
everything.
yeah, maybe because I mean, like, there's no a bullet is a bullet, right? It's gonna go through whatever. Maybe just because it's a bigger bullet,
It's a big boss.
big bullet. You know
Real
what?
big.
I'm going to mention this. I know we talked about it in the last episode, and you beat it and then moved on to Parasite Eve. But I want to mention this because I think one of the best post game weapons of all time is in Dead Space 2. After you complete the game, you get the foam finger, and Isaac runs around and goes bang, 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 and it explodes whatever he points at,
I
and it's a
forgot
one
about
hit
that.
kill. And that is the greatest post game reward of all time in any video game ever.
I completely forgot. You just activated an ancient memory in me of that. Oh my god, I forgot about that. And what a way to take away all the stress and fear
Yes, yes.
of these games. Ugh, I love that they did that. That they knew what they were doing. Resident Evil knew what they were doing. They were like, okay, now that you've been scared for fucking 10 hours, 12 hours, however long it took you to beat this, now you can go around and be like a god and not be scared of any zombies because you have all these great weapons and stuff. Like, okay, bang, bang, bang. I like that.
Was it
Home
was it
finger.
Resident Evil 4 where you could choose what your post game weapon was? You could either get like the Tommy gun or the infinite rocket launcher, or I forget what the other one was, but you could choose when you got to the end what your reward was. Was that Resident Evil 4?
I very specifically remember being able to get the Chicago typewriter
Yeah.
in 4, but I don't remember what. I'm not a super hardcore um, expert on that game. I just don't
Yeah.
remember. If I pull up some stuff here, let's see if you recognize the names of some of this stuff here. We got. Oh, they had a Killer 7 weapon in this game, bro.
Oh, cool.
I need to go back
Nice
and
little nod.
finish that game. I've the story there. How about this? The Stingray. What about the Matilda? Nothing.
The Stingray, was that the like a ray gun that you got for playing on the GameCube? Or on
Maybe.
it was on the PlayStation, I think, right?
High powered precision, good fire rate, regular bolt action. I don't know. There's
Hmm.
another one called Broken Butterfly. That ringing any bells?
That was a pistol of some kind.
Yeah, big old Magnum. It looks like a
Yeah,
revolver. Don't ask me. I don't know shit about guns. We could pretend.
sure.
Oh, this might be this one might be the new one. I didn't check to see what date this one was written.
Well, just ask Craig, our new
Hand,
intern.
yeah, Craig. The hand cannon.
Oh,
The
I
hand
remember the hand cannon.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
hand
Yeah, the
cannon.
big old. Oh yeah.
What
Just
is
the
it looks
go.
it looks like the fucking gun from the Tim Burton Michael Keaton Jack Nicholson Batman
Yeah.
where he pulls out that fucking revolver out of his pants, and he's like
Yeah.
bang. Why didn't you tell me he had one of those things? Yeah. Did they rename the Chicago typewriter to the Chicago sweeper? What the hell?
Oh, maybe.
What the hell? Why did they do that? I wish I hadn't looked that up on recording. Jesus.
Yeah,
Well,
his
anyway,
day's ruined, folks.
we kind of glossed over something about this last month's bit about scary games. They were inspired by our good friend Lilith was playing through the Silent Hill games a little bit before October, and Anthony and I decided we were going to go back, and because I got the itch. I started telling him about Silent Hill. He got the itch, and then we were both like, "Fuck!" Then we're about to play these old games, and so he was playing Silent Hill 1, and then he moved on to Silent Hill 3. There was a really important story here that I left off, uh, that I wanted to tell that I forgot. But so Lilith, being a younger man, likes to put the game on the hardest setting. You put the game on the hardest setting when you start playing a game,
No,
Anthony?
not anymore. No. Uh,
Yeah.
what a perfect example on Last of Us Part 2, there's a achievement for doing a grounded playthrough, which is the hardest setting. And I almost always play through on the easiest mode first to get as many supplies as I can, and then I'll go back and do a hard mode once I have a bunch of supplies and upgrades and stuff like that.
See, I'm of the mind too that I want to build up that skill set
Yeah.
into hard mode, and then you have that language, and then when you tackle hard mode, it's much more interesting because you're ready. You have those skills. You're ready to take it on. But I don't know. Well, anyway, he loads up Silent Hill 3, puts the game difficulty, the combat. It has distinctions. It has the puzzle difficulty and the combat difficulty. He puts them both on hard, which he regretted putting the combat difficulty on hard, and I didn't know it was going to do this, or I would have warned him. But it just made more monsters, and they just had more health and hit harder, and so it just made the whole like combat really frustrating to him. It wasn't that it was difficult; it was just annoying. And he was like, "Man, I wish I had just put it on easy or something." Like this is like some of the repeated lines of the enemies like moaning. He was like,
Oh yeah.
"Stop! This is awful." I keep knocking him over. He's just be laying there like, "Help! I hate this." That was really funny. But so he hits me up one day when he's playing Silent Hill 3. He's like, "Hey, what do you know about? Do you know anything about like Shakespeare?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of know some Shakespeare stuff. Yeah, let me jump in there." And so it's like the first puzzle in the game, and it's this elaborate Shakespeare puzzle where you actually have to have knowledge of about 5 different like epic poems that Shakespeare wrote, and they're all loosely connected in different ways. And without looking up the answer, we're sitting there looking up like Shakespeare on Wikipedia and trying to get the gist of the poems and put them in the right order so we can figure out the next part of the puzzle. And we just cannot figure this out. And so Zero joins chat. We're like, "Hey man, do you know anything about Shakespeare?" And then that's when he calls up his dad on the phone. If he was in here, he'd be dying. He didn't really do this. He called up his dad on the phone, and he was like, "Dad, get out your published poetry. Listen here." Because apparently his dad is big time poet. Very cool. And then Zero has this very specific knowledge on poetry, and he just like solved it. It was incredible. And we were like, "Well, how did you know the answer?" And he's like breaking it down. He's like, "Well, stanzas or whatever. I don't know what he said." And he's like, "Because of this means this, and that's why that this one's this. This is a false like positive here that you guys should have known that if you'd known Shakespeare like me. And I was just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So I like learned this like lore about Zero that day of his extensive knowledge of poetry. He's putting out a collection of poems next month.
I don't know. You asking me? Yeah, sure.
No, yeah.
Not really. Craig or me?
Yeah, not an actual poet, not actually publicly poet.
No, not an actual poet, not actually for sale.
Yeah, but we do have a new sponsor for this episode. We were still using Bryce's Dice, but now we have Zero's video game puzzle solving hotline. The number is
okay.
The number is 000 00000.
Good.
You call it, you get stuck in a game, call the perfect legend.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't end there. I got to tell you this. It doesn't end there. I don't remember there was another one that was like this. And I was convinced this next puzzle was a clock puzzle. Because again, it was written in a poetry fashion. And like, we're sitting there, me and Lilith are sitting there like, Zero, why can't he get on here? All of a sudden he joins chat. What are you guys doing? All right, but you got to help us solve this puzzle if you want to know what we're doing. So he has to break down another poem, and he's got it all written out. He's like, this is how you do it. Once again, and I was like, it's a clock, and they're like, it's not a clock, John. I'm like, it's gotta be, it's talking about a face and some whiskers. And I don't remember. That was totally wrong, but he solved that one too. There was just several. This game, Silent Hill 3 hard mode, if you don't know the answers and you've never solved it, why don't you just give that a shot, folks at home, to play through it. Put the combat on easy and and try to solve these fucking extremely difficult outside of game knowledge puzzles. I was just like, what? I think there was about 3 puzzles he solved for Lilith, and me and Lilith were sitting privately going, how the fuck did he do that? I was like, did you look that up? He had to have looked it up. Nope. Because he showed his work, just like in school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
There, in all honesty, I'm mostly speaking from like D&D reference here. There is nothing more frustrating than being a reasonably intelligent human being, coming up to a puzzle and just blanking and being like, I have no clue what they're asking for here. Like it's not even within the realm of anything that would come close to my wheelhouse. And you're just left there dumbfounded. And the only thing that's more frustrating than that is thinking that you have the right answer and shouting it out. And it's like, that's wrong. And it's like, no, that's right. I know I'm right. And then you shout it out again and you're just saying it over and over again. And it's like, no, it's not that's not right. You're not helping. It's like, well, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just go stand over here and be wrong with my clock.
Yeah.
Like that is the most frustrating thing in the entire world, because it's just like, I know I'm right. Like my brain tells me that I'm right.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're wrong. That's not the right answer. And it's like, well, all right, fine. I'll just go over here and do something else.
When 2 out of the 3 people trying to solve the puzzle is looking at the one going, it's not right. It's probably wrong, folks.
Have we ever told the Bryce's story about the moon on the podcast?
I don't think so. D&D is a great example of this, because if this were a D&D group, I would be sitting there as the barbarian going, it's a fucking clock. And then when it wasn't a clock, I'd kick the fucking door in. Like, fuck the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. It's like, no, screw this. I'm right. You're wrong.
I pick up both nerds and I bash their heads together and then use them to open the door. Puzzle solved!
Yeah. If I were you and you were me, then I'd use your body to get to the top.
Yeah, we've never. It really did feel like that moment, though, folks. There's a bit of a story here. D&D is for the uninitiated. Usually GMs who are homebrewing like myself. I was the GM here. I've been a forever GM for a long time until Anthony let us play Curse of Strahd. With the grace of our Lord Anthony allowed me to make a character, Anyway, so when the GM is making dungeons, right? You draw your little map, and then you're like, oh, just like traditional video games, or really just pen and paper RPGs that were before video games. We would make little like trivia puzzles or little puzzles that you have to kind of solve, and you make them as dumb as possible. Once you get to a certain point in your GM career, you make them as dumb as possible, and you accept the answer that everybody says at the table. If fucking 4 out of 5 people are saying this is the answer, but you wrote down it's a clock, it's not a clock. So bruh, do we tell this story? This is D&D. It's kind of outside the realm.
Okay, well, we could skip it. Yeah, let's get all the way up to the punchline of the story and then tell the story.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I invite.
So Blood Bowl is a game. There's this big planetary war. No, tell the story. Right. The people want to hear the story.
Okay, so we were at the boss fight. Oh, well, you know what? Let me just give a lot of it, because I think the whole dungeon was funny for a lot of reasons. But the first puzzle that you guys came to, I was like, it's a maze. It's a forest maze. And you guys were like, you and Bryce, it was just a 2-man campaign, folks. And so him and Bryce had to like work together, my younger brother. Got to work together to get through this puzzle, and it's a maze. And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to map it and figure it out. And they both looked at each other, and then they looked at me and they go, "What's this maze made out of?" I was like, "It's bushes. Why does that matter?" And then they were like, "We start building a big fire on the edge, and they burn the fucking thing down." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So they go through the whole dungeon. That's also I believe that's the dungeon that Stinkbutt originated in. But well, that's a story for another time. So we get to the boss, right? And they've already like come across several puzzles throughout the dungeon. And the boss was a series. You had to answer 3 really shittily, hastily written riddles that I wrote for each of them to solve. And so I give Anthony his puzzles. He solves them like immediately because they're very simple. And that was the point. And Bryce is stuck on his first one. And if I recall, it was like I fill up once a month, and then I'm empty or something like that.
Yeah.
It was something very obviously the moon.
Yeah.
And the man is trapped in vines. At the top of his character lungs is going, a woman's period, menstrual cycle. No, it's not that. Why? Player to player now, I'm like, Bryce, why would I write that as the answer? It's gotta be that answer. So he's fucking 4 or 5 turns. He's screaming that. And I'm like, Anthony, help him. He's like, I think I won't, maybe. And finally, he just leans over and he goes, hey, Bryce, it's the moon. And Bryce was like, it can't be the moon. He goes, the moon. I go, that's right. He goes, you chase the answer. You son of a bitch. I think we got into a yelling match after that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it really did feel like that. When we got to, I was like, it's a clock. It's got to be a clock. No, it's not a clock. Jarred. Actually, I think maybe have been the next puzzle was a clock puzzle, but it was very obviously because like it was a clock, and and Lilith's like, hey, Jarred, here's your clock puzzle, and I was like, fuck, son of a bitch.
I don't want it to be that one. I want it to be the old one.
I don't want to play anymore. Don't ask me any more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So Silent Hill little we witnessed the last bit of the Silent Hill. Lil's favorite endings for Silent Hill. If you don't know, there's always multiple endings in scary games, but they have kind of a joke ending in every Silent Hill that has to do with aliens. So he was playing through the Xbox One, the Xbox version, I should say, 360. Homecoming, or is it Origins? Homecoming, I think.
Those are both games.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It was the last one that he was playing, and he plays through the whole game blind, right? And the first ending he gets is the alien ending, which I thought was very appropriate for him. He was very pleased by that. He goes, "It's the canon." I can't do a Lilith impression. He has such a dry humor. I'm too animated, but he was like,
It's the perfect canon ending.
and I was like, "Oh my god, he's right." But I don't know. The gang, our listeners, were somewhat curious of our personal lives, so I figured we'll answer one personal life question here.
Yeah.
What was
Oh, we're opening it up to questions? Okay,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, go ahead. You in the front.
so they wanted to know what you and I do for a living outside of this. Obviously, this makes us no money. Uh,
Mm.
this is a passion project between the two of us. So they specifically wanted to know what you did for a living because you have very specific knowledge. But we've talked about football season on here, and you are a high school coach. And they were
Yep.
like, "So you must be a teacher. What class do you teach?" I was like, "Well, he ain't a teacher." So
No. This is I say this in the lightest of tones and humor that I possibly can. I originally went to school to teach, and I very quickly found that I hated the students. I was tearing my hair out, trying to strangle them, and so I could not be a teacher. Can't do it. Won't do it. Tried it. Didn't like it. Not for me. So I became a coach instead, where if somebody acts stupid, I can just tell them to go away, go run laps or something, and that fits me much better. But as far as what I did, I was originally in IT. I think you've explained that to him before, where I was originally on one career path and basically, got to a point where it was like, this is what you were going to be doing for the rest of your life. And obviously 2020 happened, the pandemic happened, and if you were a essential worker, you had to keep working. If you were a non-essential worker, you stayed home, you worked remotely. And I started doing that, and I fell in love with that lifestyle. Working from home suits me perfectly. I don't have to be around people. I don't have to talk to people. I don't have to go to uh, huddle ups or meetings or talk about what it is that we're working on. You just do work, and there's nobody there talking to you, nobody knocking on your door, no water cooler talk, none of that. And so I fell in love with that lifestyle. And then a couple of years ago, you start getting that hybrid schedule where, hey, we're starting to ease back into the office and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go back into the office. I was working in, about an hour and a half away from where I live now. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to commute anymore. I want to work from home. And I'm willing to take a pay cut to do that, because in my mind, it's worth it to me not having to drive an hour and a half there and then an hour and a half back. I mean, I'm okay with taking a pay cut because I would make that up in gas and maintenance on my vehicle anyway. And so I think that would have been 2 years ago now. I basically stopped my old career path in IT and started taking up this new one, which is working coding and trying to I'm trying to say this in the way that I understand it to be, because I'm a junior software engineer, but that doesn't mean those words don't mean anything. I write code that gets pushed up to the next tier of people, and we all collectively work on the back end of code on websites, apps, stuff like that. And I am bottom rung. I'm learning brand new. This is all foreign to me. I had never done it before, but I love it. I think it's very exciting. And so yeah, I've been doing that and coaching football. And I've been coaching football for 13 years. So 13 years coaching football, 2 years doing junior software engineer.
that somehow suits your personality so much more than IT. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I loved IT, and it ended up being like when I went to college, I changed my major 3 times. So I was originally a teacher, and I got all the way through it up to the point where you have to start student teaching. And when I started student teaching, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I physically cannot do this. I don't want to do this. And so I changed my major and I got into TCOM, which is what your brother got his degree in. Unfortunately, I'm not classically trained, so I can't. I can't take credit for that. And then I changed my major into computer science and worked in IT for close to 10 years. And I loved it. It was awesome. And then I found out what remote work was, and I loved that even more. So I just do that now.
It's a little bit of an inside joke, folks. My younger brother used to say that. Yeah, I'm classically trained. Shut up.
Yes. He is classically trained.
Bro.
I'll
I'll give you a little back. Mine's not as interesting. I'm currently a domestic engineer.
He's got his MRS degree.
My wife loves that joke because we were watching like some old Wheel of Fortune thing, and all the stay-at-home moms were introduced as domestic engineers. My career path was abysmal. I got a BFA from Ball State in painting and art, fine art. Tried to make that work. Had many different jobs that almost paid the bills. Career swapped quite a few times until we had my firstborn, my daughter, and it turned out the amount of money I was making would have all been funneled into childcare. So it just made a little bit more sense instead of like making our lives chaotic and dropping kids off and not being the ones raising them, for me to be the one to stay home and raise them. My wife is an exceptionally educated person. She's the more interesting of the two in the education in our house. She just recently got her master's, so I'll toot her horn instead. She plays the trumpet.
There you go. Yeah, I really do think that our generation is kind of the first one. You know, like our parents went and got jobs, and then that's what they did for their entire lives. That was their life. And I think our generation was really the first one where it was like, we started working for about 10 years and we were like, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. And then we just changed and we did other things. And you know, maybe we stayed in the same career path or broadened our horizons a little bit. Like you said, like your wife getting her master's degree, she's still staying in, you know, nursing and healthcare, but she wants to progress and advance and do other things. And I think that's kind of where our generation, I'm not saying that like millennials revolutionized jobs or anything like that, but I think we were the first ones where we were just like, this stinks. I don't want to do this, and I'm not going to.
Oh yeah. Changing careers every maybe 3 years. That was me. I worked in back of the house at a Ruby Tuesday. I worked, what is it? Worked as a regular security guard, and then managed to be like a more important security guard, and then became like a control room operator. So I guess that's kind of interesting, but I don't really do that stuff anymore, and mostly just child rear right now. My kids are 7 and 6. No, that's wrong. 7 and 5. There we go. Yeah, typical dad right there. How old are my kids? When were they born? Anyway,
my kid is 14 and he's a fat, overweight cat who runs around outside.
Yeah, we both got cats, folks.
Yeah,
I think that we have the polar opposite of cats, though. Like your cat is like a badass, and my cat's like a fat ass.
Yes.
If we were to describe the two gentlemen,
yes,
they're both about the same age too.
My cat was raised by the streets.
Yeah,
he was a feral beast that got kicked out of his old house, and I took him in.
Yeah, and my cat was raised in the sheets, and he slept most of his time in a warm, comfy bed. He's got kind of a brain issue. When he was a kitten, he had such a high fever, it caused a bit of neuro brain damage. So he walks funny now, but he's He's still kicking, you know. Anyway, that's probably enough background on us, folks. You want to know more, you're going to have to send us an email. Not a fax. Not a fax.
Yeah, don't fax us.
The fax machine is out of commission.
It's crazy that we got that as our first question. And obviously I understand why, like our friends want to know more about us. But like we were talking about before we started recording, I have known you since high school, and I don't think I have ever once been like, hey, what's going on in your life? Like, what do you do for work? I've never once asked that question. It's just been like, like we're cavemen. We're just like, we grunt, and it's like, good day. How's day?
I play game good. I like game.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, that's
you
us.
Play game? Did you have work? Good. Good to have work. Work good. Don't talk more about work. Time to play game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. You know more about me than 90% of my friends.
Yeah. They were asking me earlier today, and so I was like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a typical man, and I only value his presence rather than what he does for a living.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So anyway, folks, I guess we'll catch you next time. Same place, same time. Hoosier Main. Tell us Hoosier Main down below.
Yeah, and if it's not Yoshimitsu, you can go to hell.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about that, folks. I'll beat his ass.
Is that an open challenge?
It sure it is. It sure is. I'm going to show you every single character I created, and if you can get through that, then you can battle me.
Are we ever going to do an episode where we do that, where we just show off the Soul Calibur 6? Like you get to the character limit, and it's like, these are all the things I made, and then I show my 2 characters.
Yeah, let people vote.
Vote who's better.
They just I don't want to have that trauma, actually. As a matter of fact.
OC Donut Steel wins again.
Yeah, fuck that. We'll tell that story next time. You got anything else you want to tell these folks?
Nah, that's about enough. I'm sick of talking.
All right. I'm sick of talking. You lock it up.
You lock it up.
Fucking lock it up. All right. Craig, close us down. What are we doing?
I don't know. We'll see you, I guess. Bye.
Yeah. Okay, bye. Craig, get out of here. I think you leave. I forget. Stop.
Go and get Craig.
Yeah. Got him.